Welcome to another episode of Consumer Protection and You with Ryan Lippe. Today he's going to be talking about warm weather scams. So stay tuned. Welcome to another episode of Consumer Protection and You with Ryan Lippe. Ryan Lippe is a consumer educator with the state of Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost office. And today he's going to be looking at warm weather scams. Ryan, as usual, always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me again. I always appreciate coming on and giving some practical tips on all different kinds of topics.
Well, it's interesting when you say warm weather. What does that entail?
Well, a lot of times I spend with you talking about the dangers of door-to-door marketing and door-to-door sales, and how sometimes they don't want to take no for an answer. Sometimes consumers feel like it's an intrusion and feel compelled to give out money or personal information. But today I want to talk about some travel-related scams because vacation rental scams are actually a fact of life. And so if you're going away on a trip to try to get to a sunny beach, as many people do in the spring and summer and fall, you want to be able to avoid some of these vacation rental scams. So before you book your trip, it's really important to invest some time researching your options online and asking others for their opinions and recommendations. But here, there are some red flags of how vacation rental scams work. And we're talking about scams that usually offer below market rates and ask renters to send a deposit using a wire transfer, a gift card, or cryptocurrency. And then after renters send the money, they get nothing in return. So there are obviously legitimate websites out there to buy vacation rentals, whether you want a suite of rooms or a condo or something. There's supply and demand out there related to the market for vacation rentals. And so in order to have a fun and safe vacation with no unwelcome surprises, you need to watch out for some red flags. First of all, if payment is requested outside of the normal website. Now, if you're directed to pay at a website different from the one where the reservation is made, it may be a scam. So never pay for a property in advance when renting from a classified site or social media. It can be standard for an official site like Airbnb or VRBO, Vacation Rentals by Owner, VRBO, to ask for a deposit. But other than that deposit that the official site asks for, don't fall for any advanced payment requests because you may never see the rental property or your money back. So it's really important to don't pay in advance. And I think that applies to home improvement jobs as well during the spring and summer. You don't want to pay all your money in advance in hopes that they'll do a good job. You want to maybe make a down payment or a deposit and leave as much money as possible for the middle of the job and the end of the job. Space out, pay in increments with these door-to-door home repair guys. But back to our vacation model. Also, you want to make sure that you look out for cancellations outside of the ordinary. So if a cancellation comes from the booking site, that could be a red flag. They may, as part of a scam, cite problems with the property or say that it's no longer available. Legitimate sites will move your reservation or reimburse you for a rental that becomes unavailable. So if there's a site that's encouraging you to cancel, they might either charge you fees for canceling or keep your deposit and never give it back in spite of the fact you've never seen the room. And just like with cars, I'll relate the hotel rooms and condos to cars for 1 second. If you're seeing what you're seeing looks too good to be true, it may be a scam. So do your research. You can actually use Google Maps to see a photo of the rental independent of the photos that are shown on the booking website. So just like with a car, if they don't want to show you the car in advance, don't let your money fly in terms of a deposit or anything like that. And it's really hard with vacation rentals because obviously most of us are going to be in a different state. So we're not going to fly to Florida or drive to Florida just to see the property and inspect it before we are certain that we want to rent it. But be careful about the fake photos and realize that sometimes photos can be stolen from other websites. We see with apartments and houses for rent at a local level here in Ohio that there are a number of scam artists that'll steal from realtors' websites, and they'll make it seem as if the apartment or the house is for rent when it's really for sale. And all the scammers' contact information is to direct deposits and first month's rent to them, and when the property's not even legitimately for rent, especially not from the scammer. So they just sit back and collect deposits and come out with one excuse after another why you can't finally see the property that you want to call your new home.
Many times, most of us pay either through debit or credit card. I'm assuming that the scammers can use these, or is it best if they cannot accept credit cards or debit cards that they could be a scam?
Well, it could be because if you accept credit cards, you have to have an agreement with a payment processor, and I'm sure they try to stay away as best they can from scam accounts that are inevitably going to be closed or subject to prosecution or anything like that. So you got to beware. And if you can't use a credit card, figure out why. Is it a reasonable excuse? Because credit card is probably your safest way if you're booking online, if you're booking over the internet. Just like with anything we would buy or sell over the internet, it's really important to try to use a credit card so that you have that extra line of defense. And by that, I mean, if you don't like the fee, or if they charge you more than what you had agreed to, or if the deal falls through and you can't get a refund back from the company or the booking website, at least you have the credit card company that can open an investigation. And, beyond that investigation, if you dispute an amount, usually you're not going to have to pay that until the investigation's over, and probably not pay it at all if they rule in your favor. There's a $50 limit on liability for credit cards that are used without your authorization. So even if somebody charges $100,000 on your credit card, you're not liable for more than $50 as long as you report it to the credit card company within a couple of billing cycles, and that you are correct in assuming that you didn't order the product. I mean, if you agreed to something, that's another story. But if they just take your credit card and run rampant with all kinds of charges that you never agreed to, your credit card company is at your defense usually. And you don't have to pay. It's not going to be drained out of your bank account right away like it would be with a debit card or a check or something like that.
Well, that does bring up a point. If you're going to be paying by credit card, some individuals pay by debit. Is that wise in certain situations that you're talking about?
If you're doing business over the internet, I would always choose to have the card run as a credit card if you're given the option. When in doubt, use a credit card. But if you are using a debit card and you have a choice, have it go to the credit route rather than the debit route, so you can get more protections in terms of your consumer rights at the federal level. The other thing you need to watch out for when it comes to vacation rentals is damage fees. Sometimes they can, most properties leave instructions on what you need to clean up, what your responsibilities are when you're ready to leave and depart to come back to Ohio. I mean, the common instructions that we see that are certainly just fine are removing trash, cleaning all the kitchen items used during the visit, laundering towels, things like that, and bedding. but take pictures of your cleanup effort, because if you receive an email suddenly claiming that you trashed the property or that you owe a fee, that's a red flag. So the email is likely a bogus damage fee request sent by a scammer, not the legitimate property manager or owner. So if you have any questions or concerns, make sure you're contacting the legitimate property manager or owner of the property, and not a scammer that's trying to fleece you out of money, just saying that you owe it because of a room that's wrecked or something, the damage was caused on the vacation rental itself.
So, sometimes we have the option with our own insurance companies of getting some kind of insurance policy. I know if we rent a car, we have that option of getting some kind of insurance, and I think it's well worth the price.
Yeah, and that's something that is a personal option for people, just like travel cancellation insurance, just like event cancellation insurance. Those are always products that come at an expense, so you have to compare the risk and the reward of getting that insurance versus the possibility that you'll need it. Just like with any insurance product, I mean, by law, motor vehicles are required to be, us as motor vehicle owners have to have insurance. Other insurance obviously is optional, like life insurance and health insurance. And I mean, that's where you can go shopping, you can get it from an employer, you can go without if you really want to risk it. But with all these trip cancellation insurance policies, you want to read the fine print. But realize that if in the event that you cancel, you may be out some money based on the terms and conditions of your vacation rental, unless you do have some kind of insurance or security that's going to grant you money back in terms of a full refund.
I'm not that familiar with B&B properties, etc. Do you see many scams with the B&Bs?
Well, it can be. Any of these day vacation rental scams could apply to B&Bs, the bed and breakfasts. And a lot of times, if it's not a B&B, it could be through a website like Airbnb or VRBO, which stands for Vacation Rentals by Owner. Those are the big websites that offer a platform for people to rent properties, and certainly B&Bs can be put into those websites, and often are. And so with those websites, they may ask a deposit, which is fine. But if it's somebody else offering to get you a deposit or to get your deposit, that's where you want to concern yourself with whether it might be a scam. So researching the companies is really important before doing business with them. You can look for complaints filed with our office, the Ohio Attorney General's office, and of course the local Better Business Bureau. And beyond that, you can search online for reviews of the company, and using the company name along with words like reviews or complaints. Read what other people's experiences have been. You may be barking up the wrong tree and about ready to be scammed, or you may find a lot of satisfied renters that are just out there wanting you to know how wonderful the vacation was. Obviously, we want the latter case, not the former case, in terms of a rental you'll be selecting. But you also want to double check phone numbers and double check links to make sure they go to the legitimate company you're intending to contact. It's especially important to verify websites before entering a credit card number or other personal information, because travel scammers may create phony websites and or fraudulent customer support phone numbers. And we've seen a lot of people that Google, nothing is inherently wrong with just using Google as a search engine, or any other search engine you'd prefer. But the fact is, scammers try to buy ads on those search engines, and they try to act as if they're the legitimate customer service number for some of these vacation rental companies. They may claim to be Microsoft. They may claim to be the post office. There's lots of fraudulent ads that go up, unfortunately. So when you do a search through the search engine, realize that the sponsored ads at the beginning of your search results are just that. They're sponsored. That means they're an advertisement. So hesitate before clicking. Make sure that it's really the company you're seeking to go to. And when in doubt, don't click on those sponsored links. Go down to your organic search results and skip those sponsored links if you're not sure about their legitimacy.
Many times when we do vacations, we go out of the States. And I would imagine, because we are dependent upon the trust of what we read and what we see, that we could be susceptible to scams much easier. Is the state of Ohio Attorney General's office seeing a lot of scams about individuals going out of the country for vacations and things of that nature?
Well, you always have your special security measures when you're going out of the country. For example, I'm not sure whether complaints are actually very high historically or not, but when you're going out of the country, you want to have your mail held by your postal carrier or checked by someone who you trust. You don't want to leave your mailbox empty-handed, in terms of, especially if it's unlocked. You don't want to almost invite identity thieves to come look for your mail. So take care of your mailings and make copies of everything in your billfold, like your credit cards, your ID, back and front, and keep that in a secure place so that if you lose your wallet or get pickpocketed, because that's not uncommon in some countries, including the United States, unfortunately. But if you're going out of the country, be secure, be wise, make all those copies in advance. So if you do get your billfold stolen or lost, you have everything at your fingertips in terms of who to call and what to do next. And when in doubt, don't bring it with you, in terms of, do you really need 5 credit cards to go out of the country? Do you really need your social security card itself to go out of the country? Usually the answer to those 2 questions is no. So why bring them with you? It just gives you all the more concern if you do lose your belongings in whole.
I think that also goes to making a copy of your passport and all the information, because oftentimes when we're in some strange place where the surroundings just don't look familiar, we sometimes lose our passport.
Right.
And having a copy of it makes it far easier to get a duplicate or whatever.
Yeah. Whatever you do, if you're going out of the country or staying in the United States, I'm going to be in Florida, but to each his own, but carefully review the terms and conditions of any agreement before signing off on it, including any cancellation policies or added fees. There is, I love these resort fees at places that aren't even really resorts. Everybody seems to be including one-time or per-day resort fees these days, especially at vacation spots. So they should be telling you those types of fees in advance. If it's a hotel or a rental unit that incurs a one-time or per-day resort fee. And if you have an extenuating circumstance why you don't think the resort fee should be charged, make sure to bring that up in advance. And it's not, it's sometimes not too late, even when you check out, to ask about the resort fee, see if it can be waived. I mean, nobody's going to harm you for asking the question. Can this be waived? What circumstances do I have to pay the resort fee? If you get bad service, or if there's something wrong with your location and your destination that you're staying at, see if that resort fee can be refunded. Make sure you get any verbal promises in writing. Otherwise, do not consider them guaranteed. If somebody's just telling you over the phone, or even face-to-face that they guarantee you something, figure out where it is in the terms and conditions, or figure out where it is on the agreement that you're signing along with the vacation rental company or the hotel. And then keep a copy of the agreement or the contract. And if a problem arises, document the situation, track the names and numbers of people you've contacted. And my mom's very good at that. She keeps a log of everything that they've told her through customer service or through a merchant. And so she knows who they talked to at what time and what department they were in. And certainly you want to verify your reservation so you're not sorry when you show up and be left without a hotel or a vacation rental. If you book your trip through your third party, call the resort or hotel directly where you'll be staying to confirm the reservation. And, frankly, I do that right away after I book through a third party. I will, like Expedia or Travelocity or Orbitz or hotels.com, booking.com. There's all these third-party websites out there. But give it maybe a little time to process, but then contact the hotel that you're going to be traveling to just to make sure that reservation is solid before you actually fly there and potentially have no place to stay while you're standing there with your luggage.
I know that many of those companies, those third-party companies, bundle things.
Yes.
Where you can get a flight, a place to stay, automobile card, and I think you're spot on. Double checking everything.
Well, and it's wise if you think you're going to be saving money through a package. Try to price it out both ways. Don't be in such a rush as to accept the first offer you get for a bundled package. See how much it would be to go to your selected hotel, rental car company, and airline separately, and figure out whether you're going to be saving some money by going through bundled packages. Because as far as I know, there can be some savings by bundling. But you don't know until you do it both ways. You do it separately without completely booking, but find out your totals, including any added charges or tax, and figure out how much it would be bundled and unbundled. So that's it gives you some peace of mind, and you may be surprised at what you find out in terms of maybe you get drastic savings from the bundle, or maybe there's very little savings with the bundle. I mean, I found out that I could not earn hotel miles when I booked through a third party with a particular hotel chain. They only would credit reservations for the frequent visitor purposes. They would only credit reservations made directly through the hotel chain. They didn't accept any third-party reservations for points on your account. So I learned the hard way, unfortunately, but let everybody learn from my mistake. See in advance whether you're going to be getting credit through the airline, through the hotel company, and through the rental car company for your stay or for your rental, and make sure you know. And it may factor into your equation as to whether you go with a third party or go directly through the company you're going to be staying with.
One of the things that I found is if you rent a car in the United States and you were to make a trip to, let's say, parts of Mexico or parts of Canada, your insurance or the liability directly falls upon you.
Yeah, you want to make sure to look at all the specific situations before you start driving across country lines or sometimes even state lines. So make sure you read the fine print carefully, and when in doubt, don't make that trip without asking the question to the rental car company and perhaps an insurance company to find out the implications of driving out of the country into Canada, into Mexico, or within the European Union, whatever the case may be. Ask before you act. And we have more information on these and lots of other topics at our website, www.ohioprotects.org. That's ohioprotects.org. and we've got our help center. Well, we are just a phone call away. We are there to take complaints, including complaints of travel scams, at 800-282-0515. 1-800-282-0515. We handle all kinds of travel packages, airline fares. Those are issues that may be ripe for our informal dispute resolution that we do every day with consumers that try to resolve complaints that for one reason or another, they cannot work out with the business, with the merchant, with the vendor. We can try with our ability to contact the destination, contact the company, and try to let them know your side of the story. And a lot of times we can get refunds or action from the supplier, from the hotel, from the rental car company when you've tried and not been able to. So the worst that can happen is we act on your behalf and they still won't budge. Best thing that can happen is you get a refund based on our actions on your behalf. So 800-282-0515 is your help center, and they're open till 6 p.m. during the business week. And they really are there to help, and if they can't help you, they may have some ideas on who can help you resolve your issues.
Ryan, you go to different places and speak, as well as have Zoom conferences.
Yeah, everything we do is free, whether it's our informal dispute resolution or whether it's me driving to Chillicothe or Toledo or Ashtabula. We can give in-person presentations to groups of 20 or more for free on topics like consumer scams, identity theft, cybersecurity, topics like that, senior scams, shopping smart, all those types of things. We're just a phone call away. So again, 800-282-0515 or www.ohioprotects.org. We want 20 or more if we're going to be traveling, but if it's a small group or you think virtual would work better, we can certainly do virtual presentations on platforms such as GoToMeeting and Zoom and platforms like that. We do that every week in the office. So all of our services are free. We're there to protect you. So let us know how we can help.
Ryan, it has been a pleasure as always talking with you. I know we only touched upon a few of the scams. The state of Ohio Attorney General's office has a lot of information on a variety of different programs.
Well, thank you so much for getting the word out and helping us educate your viewers. And again, use that website, use that toll-free number to your advantage, and we're there to protect you. And if you need our help, we're only a phone call or an internet message away.
Hey, we're talking with Ryan Lippe. Ryan Lippe is a consumer educator with the state of Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost's office. Ryan, thank you.
Thanks so much, Patrick.